Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Well, this video is going to be about Gleaner combines because I've had a couple people asking me since we started beans. Well, take that back. Today is Wednesday. We got started on beans Monday, and if you saw my last video, I think I mentioned that we had some rain moving in, and yeah, here at the farm, we got about 1.2 to 1.3 inches dumped on us on Tuesday. And so, yeah, we're stopped for a few days, and so I'm back here in the shed. But had a few guys reach out to me regarding settings and that kind of stuff. And so, like I say, this is going to be what I do on our Gleaner combines. And so I'm just going to show you here some different things. This machine here, I think I've said it before, is a 1993 R52. And the early R series, up until, I think it was up until 1996, they ran a short shoe. I don't know why, but you can see, if I can get my light set just right. Right there's the back end of the shoe, and right there is the front of the shoe. It's not very long, and you got to be careful because you'll carry beans right over the tail of the thing. And like I say, I've had a couple guys asking me about settings and that kind of stuff because that's what they're having trouble with. And this machine here, the last time we actually ran corn with it would have been in 2017, because ever since then we've done all the corn now with the R72. But as far as bean settings, get up underneath here. Right there is what my top chaffer looks like, as far as opening and that kind of thing. And of course, like usual, I gotta keep fighting with my dumb light. But I run those fingers, about the thickness of my index finger knuckle right there. Now, everybody has different thickness of hands and that kind of stuff. Mine's pretty skinny. And so this does have the short, rounded end finger for soybeans. And maybe I'll grab a measuring tape and just stick in there, that way you can see. This is kind of a two-piece chaffer. You got the two handles right here that can adjust your finger pitch. And from, looks like, yeah, this point, yeah, from this row back that way is all connected. And this row right here, coming on out here to the end, up here, is one piece. And I actually run this part here open just a bit more to help catch anything coming off. And then, right down through there's the sieve. Like I said, I'm going to grab a tape measure, that way you can see. All right, got my tape. And on the main part of the chaffer, I don't know how well you can see that. Trying to get the camera to focus. Running about a 1/2 inch. Up here toward the back end where you got the second part that is hooked onto the different part of the handle. Just kind of let that focus here for you a little bit. Looks to be about, maybe about a 5/8 or so, give or take a little bit. And so, but yeah, like I say, in 1996 when they started putting a longer shoe in these things, that made a world of difference. Actually, we had a 1996 R52. That was before we bought that R72. Because my dad and I bought that 52 in 2011. And if I remember right, the shoe on that one was about 1.5 feet longer than this one right here. But like I say, that's my shoe settings. My air settings, I run on 2.5 on the air. That way you don't have so much air blowing up and out of that thing that you're literally carrying beans over with the airstream. I'll double check my numbers on that also. Okay, here we are up in the cab. Yep, right there's air settings, 2.5. As you can see, for 93, we still have the plastic on the seat. We are first owner on this machine. My dad, and it would have been his uncle, my great uncle, bought this machine in 1995 because Agco had actually used it as a demonstrator for a couple years and then sold it. And so, yeah, not too bad a shape for 1993. Now I'll get up behind the engine and show you on the rotor. All right, here we are behind the engine. Well, behind, in front of, however you want to call it. Yeah, this one here does have that Deutz air-cooled motor in it. And they're a good motor. I will say I would never have another one because they are a high-maintenance engine. You gotta keep them blowed out every day with an air gun. Mainly because you can get soybean dust and that kind of stuff building up inside there. But yeah, I mean, fuel efficiency, it's very fuel efficient. And like I say, that was one of the downfalls when they started running these motors in a combine, was guys would not keep them cleaned out. And they would end up overheating, and you'd overheat a cylinder or something like that, because it just has 6 individual cylinder jugs, just like a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, for example. And so, yeah, like I say, they were all right, but the ID just wasn't good for a combine. And I think it might have been, 95, maybe 96, is when they went completely with Cummins motors. And because for a few years there, I think they had it to where you could choose either Deutz or Cummins. And then, now, like I said, I'm guessing it's either 95 or 96 is when they went completely with Cummins, because it was just a less maintenance engine. So I'm going to open up the rotor door here, and I'll show you on the inside. Okay, I forgot. Before we get started on the rotor, I was going to show you here on this sieve, and I'm not too sure how well you can see it underneath there. You can see we run it just a little bit tighter. And I'm going to try and feed my tape measure down through there and see if I can get it to show up on camera. If I can get that worked down through there, maybe not. Well, I was going to anyway, but like I said, you can see there we're not real wide on the sieve part. I'm guessing, about the thickness of my index finger there. I can put my fingernail clear up underneath it. And so just under a 1/2 inch, approximate guesstimation on sieve clearance. And so that gives you kind of a rough idea on that as well, if you're adjusting yours. And so, okay, now we're ready to go check out the rotor. All right, here we are up behind right there's the engine, and here's the rotor. This one here is basically set up like I did on the R72. I know I've done quite a few videos on that regarding the helical bars and that kind of stuff. This one here also has steep pitched helicals that transfer stuff from the threshing side of the rotor over to the separating side over here. I put the rotor into neutral in the 2-speed gearbox. If I can get it rolled around here. There we go. This machine has the what they call the open 8-bar rotor, and so you can see right through it. Okay, yeah, there it is. You can see the big round drive shaft in the middle, and it's all open. I think I've showed you before on the R72, it's got that CDF, which now all Gleaner combines run a CDF rotor, which is just like anybody else. It's just a big solid drum with 6 rows of rasp bars. Whereas this one here is the open concept with 8 rows of rasp bars. This rotor is 24 inches in diameter. And at 24 inches in diameter, when you're closing this here's your concave. When you're setting this up here at the top, when you get that rolled up there, up here at the top will be your closest point of contact between the rasp bars and the concave. What I do for setting is approximate thickness of the soybeans is what I go by. I don't really go. In fact, I had a guy ask me. I don't even look at the book. I pretty much just eyeball everything, and because the book does it. It's not. I mean, the book, I guess you could say, is kind of for general settings, but yeah, I don't exactly. I never even go by that anymore. But like I say, your closest point of contact would be right up here. What I normally go by is the thickness of the soybean. And so right there's a bean. And so however thick that is, I just kind of go off the end of my finger and kind of put my fingers right in there. And that feels about right. Like I say, this machine here has done soybeans only since 2017. And, well, I guess 2017 would have been the last year this machine ran corn. But, like I say, we've left it set for soybeans ever since. And so, I don't adjust this one anymore. I just leave it set and go every year for soybeans. But, like I say, that is, pretty much what I go by as far as my clearance. Rotor speed, I run at 650. And because that's where you get your power at, your speed. The reason why I run the clearance up here so tight is just like I had a guy explain it to me. In fact, he is actually a really good Gleaner mechanic. And unfortunately, he does not work at the dealership anymore. He moved on to a concrete company now. But like he was explaining it to me, you want the clearance for soybeans down good and tight. And the reason for that, you want that rotor grabbing stuff and ripping it right through and just and transitioning it through the rotor out the end over here. You don't want it coming up off of your feeder house chain and coming in down here and the rotor just sitting there just kind of spinning and flailing away at it. You want to grab it and just rip it right through and pull it right through over the concave, through the steep pitch helical bars over here to the separator side. It's going to go up around the front side over there, down, and come across the separator grate down here on the bottom. That's why you want to run a good close clearance right here. That way you can grab stuff. This machine also has the Trimp hardened rasp bars. We put them in. In fact, I think it might have actually been 2009. And they're still good. They're rebuilt with tungsten. The great thing about those is they keep like a sandpaper edge. And so it can grab stuff and pull it right through. And you can see on this one here as well, at that time, we took out some of the helical bars on this side to help slow down the transition of material going through the machine. And just like I've shown on the R72 as well. But yeah, like I say, I've had some guys asking me about this, and I just figured, well, I'll do a little video here showing what I've done in my settings, and hopefully it'll help you guys out. I'm trying to think here if there's anything else I need to cover. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. And I will go ahead and show you the R72 as well. I know I've done that before. But as far as setup, I do the exact same thing. Close clearance, 650 on the rotor RPM, And pretty much the same thing regarding chaffer and sieve as well. But yeah, like I say, that's why I run a close clearance. That way, as the rotor's going around, it's grabbing stuff and just ripping it right through the machine, and not just sitting there spinning away on it. Because if it just sits there and hammers away on it, you can get a lot of cracked beans. And I know the one guy told me that's what he was running into, and so that's why I do that. And so, like I say, that's what I figured I would just show you here on this one here, and just kind of do like a little education video. And like I say, I'm no genius on the machine, I can tell you that much. But I'm just showing you what I've done, what other people have showed me. And so, tell you what, I'll just show you right briefly on the R72, the same thing. And that way, if you have any questions regarding between CDF or the open 8-bar rotor, and like I say, they're all the same thing pretty much. And yeah, we'll go from there. So let's jump over to the R72, and I'll show you right quick on that one. Okay, here we are on the 72. And like I told you in my bean harvesting video, adding this big pan on that spreader has seemed to really help. Like I think I told you, it was kicking up such a dust fog. It's hard to tell from just simply looking back in the mirror. But my dad told me, he said that from what he could see when he was running the R52, it was really spreading out, and I can see the pattern on the ground. Okay, here's up inside the shoe. Kind of a tight squeeze up underneath here. On this one, there's the chaffer, and I run it approximately the exact same thing as the 52. And the sieve, same thing as well. And this here is actually a new chaffer that we put in. I had to put a new chaffer in because after there's the handles for it. Because after got done doing it with rye harvest, which I know I got some video of, I was noticing that I was putting in like a lot of big rye heads. Well, come to find out, a couple rows of the chaffer teeth were actually missing. They just seem to be worn out. And so we got a new chaffer in, and it seems to be doing a good job. So let's jump up here, and I'll show you the rotor on this one right quick. Alrighty, here we are up behind the motor. And of course, right there is the public noise maker. The Cummins M11 with a 4-inch straight pipe coming right up off the manifold. In fact, I have actually checked with our Gleaner dealer, and after running the serial number, I found out that this here is number 28 from the last R72 built. And so it's not one of the last ones made. So we'll get this big door open, I'll show you inside. Alrighty, and here we are. And I forgot to put the rotor in neutral on the gearbox, but there might be enough wiggle in it. Same thing here as well. Up here at the top, here's your concave from this point going down. Of course, this one here is about 2 feet wider than the R52 is, because it's a class 7 machine. And like I say, same exact thing as far as contact between the concave and the rasp bars up here at the top is going to be your closest point of contact. Same thing right up here. And like that, I run the same thing as well. The thickness of the bean and between the rasp bar and the concave. Now, I will tell you, if you run the CDF rotor, the normal or factory CDF rotor came out as a 23-inch diameter. The open 8-bar was 24-inch, which is standard. I'm not exactly sure why they made it 1 inch smaller. I think they were trying to cram more stuff through for capacity. However, what that did is it made your point of contact instead of being up here at the top, it was down here about halfway. There's like a break right here. In fact, it's actually part of a pivot. As you adjust your concave in and out, it kind of wraps around naturally because it's kind of contouring to the rotor diameter. But if you have the CDF without the 1/2-inch spacer bars beneath the rasp bars, your closest point of contact will be right down here. The first year we ran this machine, I was having quite a bit of trouble with wanting to crack beans and just not do a very good job. And see what happens when this is your point of closest point of contact. This part of your concave isn't really being used. So what I did is I had somebody that I know, in fact he's actually married to my cousin. At the time he worked at a place and he had access to a big plas table. And he made me full length 1/2-inch spacer bars. And if you can see right in there, you see that rasp bar, then you see that 1/2-inch spacer up against the main frame of the drum. If you have a CDF rotor without those 1/2-inch spacer bars, I would highly suggest pull the rotor, put 1/2-inch spacer bars in, and it'll be a lot better. Because that put it back out to its 24-inch diameter. And it's also my understanding that this CDF rotor is not original in this machine. In 2002, I think they were still running the open 8-bar, but you could get the CDF. It might have been in the R75 series, is when they started going with CDF, just standard from the factory. And but like I say, if you do not have 1/2-inch spacers like this, put them in. Now, AGCO does offer the 1/2-inch spacers at their typical rip-off pricing. And you can put 1/2-inch spacers on just the threshing side over here and not the separating side. Myself, I didn't want that. Because if you think about it, that means the RPM of this side of the rotor over here is going to be going faster than this side. I want everything all equal. And so that's why I had him make up full-length 1/2-inch spacer bars. I would highly suggest going to a machine shop and having a machine shop do it, because I remember pricing through AGCO, and it seemed like it was going to be like $1,000 to $1,500 to get their 1/2-inch spacers. That friend of mine, he made me 7, so I actually have one extra. I think for like $65. Can't go wrong on that deal compared to AGCO. And of course, I know I showed this all before. This machine here, I did get my light stuck up here again. It's got the steep pitched helical bars, which make a world of difference. Transitioning all your crop mat from over here and transitioning it over to the separating side of the cage and rotor. I know I've gone over that before. In fact, maybe I can take and put a link to that video in the video description down below. I'll try and do that. But yeah, like I say, I just figure I'll show a little bit here on this one here. But as far as settings, I do this one in the R52 the same way. Good and tight here, 650 on the rotor speed, 2.5 on the air supply on the fan, and it does a good job. So, tell you what, guys, I think I'm going to call that an end of this video. So, like I say, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask in the comment section down below. And like I say, I'll just had some people asking me as far as settings and that kind of stuff. So I figured, well, I'll do a little video here just showing you what's going on. And maybe he can help you out. And like I say, have any questions, feel free to ask. So take care. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.